Welcome back, everyone, to Around the Table. We're so glad you're with us today. We're here for another conversation, a fun one. It's a little challenging, but it's fun. It's about overcommitting and how that creates the poverty of time in our life. And so we're just going to dive into that today. We're so glad you're with us. Okay, girls, who at the table has never been overcommitted? Raise your hand. I feel like everyone at the table has overcommitted at some point in their life. And I think I want to start with Heather just because she is one.
She's really overcommitted.
She's not because she's overcommitted, but she has this extra challenge of moving, going away from home a lot and entering back in. And how does that affect you, Heather, just in terms of like, does it make you feel overwhelmed? Does it make you feel overcommitted? Like, what is that? What comes up for you when you have to travel and stuff?
First and foremost, jet lag, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing because when I come home from being away, I typically like need a few days to like not do anything and just like be home, like resettle, like, and so if I feel like, I typically just like to have a few like just down days, like whenever I'm transitioning back, one sleep because like our bodies, like it just happens, you know, it's like you're over there, and especially if you're in Europe, it's totally flipped, like 8 hours ahead, you know. But as far as like when I'm home, I don't have tons of things that I'm doing right now in the season.
Right.
Like because of like there have been seasons where, you know, I was working full time at a church on staff. I was working outside, like an outside job, you know, working retail while working on staff at a church, and then doing all of the volunteer things that, church, you need help. Need help. So I think like in that season, I feel like there was so much more. I was overcommitting and like I was just committing. I was like, I'm an all-in person. I want to do all the things. And so that can be hard sometimes and challenging, especially when there's expectations. Like if you're on staff somewhere or, you have another job and you have to like show up. You can't just not show up to work. So I think there have been definite seasons in my life. So, I don't know.
Makes sense.
It totally makes sense. I can remember a season, actually last summer. I've always been the one that like, I think a lot of us do this where we just want to like help everyone and do all the things and be committed. And I mean, I am kind of at max right now, but I remember, I hurt my back really bad and and we were moving into a new city and I couldn't figure out like, this is not at all what I imagined it to be. And the Lord spoke to me and said, I hard stopped you for a reason. And I had to sit on the couch for a couple of weeks and just like evaluate that and reevaluate like what I was committed to, what I shouldn't be committed to, because when you're overcommitted, it does create this poverty of time where you don't feel like you have enough time in the day. And the Bible says, right? There's enough time in the day. So how does that affect you, Jiff?
Yeah, I'm in an interesting season where I have a lot going on. I've got basically 2 full-time jobs, and it's super fun to be busy and to not have too much. I always feel like too much time on your hands is like too much time to think and mull things over. So I like having things to do.
Me too.
But what I realized in the season is that I can't do everything.
Right.
And so that's hard because your friends are doing something or the church is doing something or something's happening and you're like, that would be amazing. But to be able to pull back and say, do I have capacity for this?
Yes.
I don't think I do.
Right.
And if I commit to something that I really don't have capacity for, it's not going to bless me, and it's actually not going to bless the thing that I'm committing to. Right. And so, but that's hard. Like the FOMO thing is real, and you don't want to miss out on what somebody's doing, especially if it's something that you would normally do in a less busy season. But I've definitely in the season had to figure that out, pull back when I need to, and even like evaluate, okay, do I still have time for my husband?
Right.
Do I still have time? Like, I think we've talked about this, but like when I was campaigning and working, and then I thought, well, if we'll get through the campaign, and then if I win, the job will be easier. Nope. The job was even more intense.
Yes.
And I thought, I actually have to really evaluate, like, who are the people that I have capacity for to be like investing in and calling and spending time with. And I want to spend time with everybody. I want to do all the things, but there are only so many hours in the day. Right. And so there are those times where you're like, I can't say yes to another thing because this is my priority right now. This is what I've been called to. Right. And if I say yes to this out of some like, I don't want to miss out, it's not going to be good for the thing or me. So
the capacity thing is really, especially when it comes to people. Yeah, you have to be careful what you say, who you say yes to, because if you don't have the capacity to deliver in relationship, it can be disappointing for the other person, which can be very painful, and you don't want to hurt anyone.
No, and draining for you too.
Yeah, and draining.
So much emotional capacity.
Exactly.
That's so true.
Yeah. What do you think, JoJo?
I know I'm kind of in an interesting season where I have multi-layered of things happening, but they're not all full time. Right. So I have like these, just multi-layer things happening in my world. But my clients aren't full time; they're mostly part time. Right. And then I have family that's full time and sometimes part time, especially with the grandkids. And then other things that I'm putting my hand to that are not full time, but they require time and attention. So I think for me that when I think about this topic, for me it's more about I'm trying to evaluate and get better at, because I'm kind of a let's do it all girl too. Yeah. And I always want to see my friends and I want to do all the things, and I have a high value for fun and connection. And so I make time for that with the people that I, are most important or that I'm in relationship with. But at the same time, realizing rest is important for my life, because I used to be such a doer. Like I'm like a doer. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do all the things, and I do like to be busy. But recognizing like actually rest is a place of a refill for me, and recognizing that's actually something I need. Like for my emotional well-being, for my physical well-being, for just my energy, recovery level. Yeah. And I think that I remember hearing this person say one time, who was like full-time ministry person, and I think this could go across the board for anybody, full-time whatever you're doing. Like when you're running in your lane, your assignment, your purpose, you're going full speed. You have passion and purpose in it, and so you're going. But they said, as hard as you're going, you also need to bring time into your life for rest and fun. Because we can all be drivers in seasons of things that we're doing, but there is a spiritual significance and importance to actually resting and bringing those places. And rest can look like spending time with a friend and or going on a bike ride, or it doesn't always look like you're just sitting on the couch doing nothing, but sometimes it is. So whatever rest is for you, that refilling space, it's super important. So I think for me, it's finding that balance, because if I'm doing too much, I recognize it in myself, because my patience goes down, my ability to like even have the right responses to situations, because I know my emotions are tapped out because I'm tired and I've been doing too much. So I need to just kind of like, take a time out. Do something fun, or do something that's really rejuvenating.
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that thinking back, and we probably all remember this, remember how exhausting the baby season was, like when your babies were babies. And I just remember being tired all the time. And that's a very specific season where I remember having to just very pointedly, conscientiously, like intentionally going, okay, there are these tasks that need to be done, but I'm going to let them sit. And I'm going to go get coffee with a friend, or my friends that were friends with me during that season, we would be like, our fantasy is to go to Target by ourselves and just be alone. Like, go get a coffee and walk through Target by yourself. And sometimes that is refueling because you're just alone and you're not having to get somebody out of car seat and grab the diaper bag and all the
Even
stuff.
just locking yourself in the bathroom.
I know, right?
Just give me 5 minutes.
I know. And of course the fingers and they're like, where's mom? And of course when you leave, I don't know, I always teased Craig that anytime I went anywhere, he and the kids were sitting like this at the window waiting for me to get back.
That's cute.
Which sounds cute, but for me at the time, I'm like, stop. Enjoy each other. You know? But it's exhausting. And you have to make the point of like, oh, I'm actually needing to be refreshed. I actually need my tank filled up.
Right.
And, time with the Lord, time with a friend, just a break.
Yeah.
And I think those spaces provide like places of just the creativity, that is in us that comes out when we have that restful place or we choose rest or we choose something that is life-giving to us. It actually it breathes into that place of creativity again and like energy and like the capacity to do the thing that we're putting our hand to or we're called to do, right? And if we're depleted all the time, we're not bringing our best self to the very things that are most important, whether it be, the task at hand or the relationships or the marriage or the, the kids, the grandkids or just our work. So it's important. So
I think too, it's important to recognize like what it is that makes you feel rested.
Yes. Yeah.
What is it that, because like I'm very much an introvert. So I need to have, if I've been doing a lot of activity, I need to like have quiet time. I refuel like alone a lot of times and I can just like sit and just have quiet and nothing on and then just have time with the Lord and I'm like refreshed. My son, on the other hand, he is very much an extrovert. So what energizes him is being around people.
Right.
But like for me, like I can do times with a lot of people, but like just like if I'm feeling really tired, that's why I know like what I need when I come home from a trip. Sorry guys, I can't do anything right now. Like I gotta chill. And so then after that, then I'm like, okay, I'm feeling re-energized. I know I've been doing this long enough to know what it is for me that makes me come alive, right?
Yes,
But I think that's a really important thing because a lot of times people don't recognize what it is actually that makes them like come alive or feel rested. And because like sitting on the couch and having a conversation with somebody that's like talking your ear off, that like is like, no, I don't need that right now. Like I need to like have quiet space, like just kind of just like I say check out, but not really check out, right? Like we just need to know like what it is, how we're wired, because there's introverts and there's extroverts and there's internal processors and external processors and
I
all
think
of that
that's hard
matters.
too, and like with in that context of what you're saying, again, I'm thinking of my girls because my oldest daughter is a complete extrovert. So she's like Micah. She's lovey Devin. She's she is like the life of the party, always go go go. But then she would get completely burned out and just be like actually frustrated that she didn't have margins in her life for rest because she needed it so desperately. And so when she finally got to spaces of rest, she'd be like, don't talk to me. I'm reading my book for the next 8 hours. I don't want to do anything. And I'm like marveling at that. Like I have a hard time resting. So, but she taught me something in that. Like there's value in this rest space, and actually it's a refueling place for her. And what does that look like for me? Like you said, it looks different for everybody. And then my youngest daughter, she like her favorite thing is to read too. So she's, as soon as like babies are down for naps or she has a moment, she's like, get my Kindle out. And that's her recharge, is just alone time, doing something she loves, but it's refueling for her. And it's like back to like, what does that look like for you? But it does bring out their best selves because they have that quiet inner space of like, I'm taking care of me. And that's what can feel wonky as like a young mom or, when you've got people relying on you or depending on you for things, you kind of have this, I can tend to have a hyper responsibility. Like I gotta be doing and like, what's next? But it's not really bringing the fullness of like myself to whatever I'm doing or the work or the relationship when I'm depleted. So it is important.
Right. Exactly. I want to focus on that for a second, the hyper responsibility, because I think that when we, like we can't do all things well. That's just not possible.
Exactly.
And I think giving yourself permission to choose the responsibility that you're supposed to take on. And we talk about intentionality a lot. We talk about seasons, but they're just really important, two very important words that need to be reevaluated in our lives constantly.
Yes.
Because we can't do all things well. And when we try and do everything, that's what creates the poverty of time.
Right.
That's where you get burnout. That's where you need to pull back. Not saying you're burnout, Heather, but just like those seasons where we just, or those moments where we have to pull back and just go, and get overwhelmed or whatever. It's important to give yourself permission to evaluate where your yes is supposed to be.
Yeah. I had a mentor one time say, you know, and I know it's kind of cliche, but it was like, you know, what's your best yes? You know, it's okay to say no to good things so that you can say yes to the very best, like your best yes for your life or what's happening or what's important to you, what you're valuing. And it's so true. I mean, there's you have to say no to things. And when we don't, because we have a hyper responsibility or we're feeling like, I don't want to disappoint anybody.
You feel guilty for not saying yes or whatever.
You want to do everything.
Or you don't want to let someone down.
Right. You don't want to let someone down, but you can't do it all well. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And when we try to do it all, we can't.
No.
And then again, that thing that we're trying to do suffers. We suffer.
Your family suffers.
And your family suffers.
Your family.
Even that poverty of time, like that phrase, even unpacking that a little bit, like that's a super powerful phrase. Like that, because poverty is what? It's a lack. And it's a strong lack that affects your life, your health, your you know, so to have a poverty of time, it sounds severe, but it's real.
It is real.
Right.
Yeah. I think what's important is that we again give ourselves permission to really evaluate commitments.
Yes.
What are you committed to? What are your yeses for? What's the why? What's it for? And who's it for? And ask the Lord, is this where you want me to say yes?
Right.
Because, you know, like I said, I started in the beginning, you know, the Lord hard stopped me for a reason. And that was for me to really evaluate what my yes was. And if I didn't say no to some things, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing now. And that's a constant evaluation.
That's true.
Especially when it starts to affect your family, your husband, your relationships, your friendships, and you're starting to pull back. It's important that you evaluate that and give yourself permission to.
It makes me think of too, I don't know how many of you guys went from a career to being a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you guys worked while you were a stay-at-home mom, but I went from a full-time career and then my son was born and then I was home, which was absolutely what I wanted. But I went from super busy, super stimulated, super like working in my gifts and my talents and doing a great job and had all these coworkers to me and Jake all day.
Right.
Let's go. Watching a baby, feeding the baby, stimulating the baby, doing that, you know, like that can be hard too when you're called to something that maybe feels less enjoyable than you thought or less stimulating, but you know that's where the Lord has you. That just making that adjustment. And there was a part of me that was like, I think I'm going to sub back at my old school. Well, we moved to Huntington Beach and my old school was in Laguna Niguel. So to navigate like substitute teaching and my mother-in-law and the baby, I did it a few times and I thought, what am I doing? Like it's exhausting me. And I've been praying for this baby and I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And not everybody's called to that. Like, let's just be clear. Some people really want to work and be, you know, all the things. But I really wanted to be fully present with my kids. But it's not always fun and stimulating and exciting, you know? So I had to make that adjustment to what I felt like God had called me to in that season. It was a huge adjustment.
Yeah, it's big.
I was the same. I always wanted to be home. and I always wanted to work too. So I liked being busy when my kids were little. And so, and as they grew up, so I worked from home.
Okay.
So it was easier for me. So I would be up until like 2 a.m. and I know, but I had to get that like energy out, that work energy thing out, and just committed to church and people and all the things. But you are tired a lot. A lot when your kids are young. Yeah. For sure. You're tired a lot.
It's physically exhausting. I remember my sister-in-law said, because when we had our babies, my sister-in-law had teenagers. And I just thought her life was so fun. And my life was so just like tired and sick kids and babies and crying and all of that. And she said, your season is physically exhausting. My season is emotionally exhausting.
Isn't that
She's dealing with teenage young adult. And I was like, what are you complaining about? Like, I could only see what was. And now I'm there and I'm like, boy, was she right. You know, but it's that thing where it's exhausted. That baby season is super physically exhausting.
It is. Yeah.
And I think the emotional space of exhaustion can be even more detrimental to like our physical well-being, our health, our sleep, and our ability to rest. Because if we're kind of in a swirl of a lot of emotional depletion and we're not able to recharge, it can really affect our peripheral world, our relationships, our connection with other people. So it's such an important thing to be mindful of, where am I feeling this poverty of time or space or capacity, and what is causing that? What's creating that in my life, and what can I adjust in this time of where my life is at to build in places of rest that are so necessary for me to bring my best self to everything that I'm touching.
Yeah, because rest doesn't mean inactivity.
Exactly.
Right.
It means doing something that refreshes you.
Exactly.
And so for me, like one of the areas that I love to get refreshed in is I love being creative.
Yes.
Like making pretty flower arrangements or creating tablescapes or, whatever, cooking, like baking. Like for me, it's baking, not cooking. Baking for me. But I mean, just doing different things, doing art. Like literally, I can get lost just creating art for hours. And it's something that, as I'm talking about, I'm like, I need to do that again. Because it's something that I just feel energized by, and I connect with the Lord through it, and it's just like really beautiful. So I think we all, some people, it's going out in nature, like just find what it is for you and let yourself like be fully present in that, because when you allow yourself to be fully present, then you become refreshed.
That's good.
I love that. That's so good.
This is a good conversation, you guys. This is really good. I just want to encourage everyone to give yourself permission to evaluate what you're saying yes to. And give yourself permission to say no to things.
Yes.
Evaluate the areas with your relationships, your spouse if you have one, or your closest friends, your family, whoever that is, because the most important thing is that you're present with people. That's the most important thing. There are seasons of grinding, and that's fine, but they can't last forever. And so I just want to give everyone the encouragement to question the Lord. Is this what you have for me in this season? We're so glad you're with us today. Thank you again for joining us. Like and subscribe. Comment. We love to hear your comments. Love to hear your comments. Follow us on aroundthetable_Inc. on Instagram. On the web, it's aroundthetable.inc.com. And thank you for joining us.
Yes.
See you next time.